Hey guys, Adam here from DirectionTrader.com. Let's do today's recap and talk about what we see moving forward. It's election day, so things are a little bit quiet today. That's pretty well to be expected. So we kind of expected a little bit slower day today, maybe a little bit less volume yesterday. On the S&P, I think we traded like 1.3 million contracts yesterday in the S&P. I'm not sure. I'd have to go back and look at it, but I think that's what the number was. And I like to see somewhere around 200 or maybe 2 million. And so it was definitely a lighter volume day. And today, I believe, is pretty much the same way. Much to be expected. Whenever we going through it, and definitely not as bad as presidential election, but it's definitely very low. For our typical trading. So we took 2 positions yesterday, and we actually got 3 trades off today. We took 2 crude positions because crude was fairly active. We had a nice little drop and then kind of just some chop, but we were able to get a couple crude trades. We had 2 profitable crude trades, 1 small profitable Russell trade. Nothing for us to get too excited about, but a nice steady day for a low volume day, and especially for election day, guys. So we had 1 nice winner in crude, and then a small winner in crude and a small winner in Russell. So all in all, not a bad day. But as far as what we see moving forward, we're still pretty extended. What's been going on here in the crude is we're getting pushes, chop, 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 push, chop, 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 push. Extended chop, another push, nice chop, and then we got another push here. So after these pushes down, we're looking for this retrace. We're looking for this bounce back, and we're not getting a big bounce back, but we are getting a consolidation. So the way we've been approaching it is as long as we're not breaking the previous day's low. Now, we are in a downtrend, guys. There's no denying the fact. Look at all the moving averages. We're in a downtrend. There's no denying that. But how we're approaching it, as long as we can gain some momentum above the previous day's low, so going into tomorrow, if we can hold above previous day's low, I'm going to look for my 5 and 15 minute anchor charts to start showing signs of life to the upside, because we're constantly looking for the revert. Now, we are day trading these. We're not swing trading this. This is a day trading technique. So every time we've gotten a drop and it stayed above the previous day's low, you see, we've been looking for them opportunities. Every time it gets a drop, as long as it stays above the previous day's low, we're looking for that. Even if it consolidates, that makes for a really nice trading opportunity. I mean, look at this drop. Looky here, we dropped below the previous day's low again, so we got another bounce off previous day's low. Makes for a really nice bounce for an intraday trade. So tomorrow, as long as we hold up above the previous day's lows here, I'm going to look for higher highs and higher lows on an anchor chart, say a 5 or 15 minute anchor chart, and I'm going to start looking for upside opportunities. Where could it go to? I mean, I'm going to avoid the previous day's highs, obviously, but maybe a reversion back to the 21. Not going to say it's going to happen in one day, but if we start to get a little bit of a rally here, that's something we could actually shoot for. That doesn't seem impossible for us to see a nice little pop right back up towards that 21 period moving average. But the most important part of this is I must be trading above the previous day's low. If we happen to open up tomorrow and break on down, there's only one direction for me to trade. I will only look for shorts below the previous day's low and look to continue going with the momentum, because we don't know how long of a drop this is going to be. Maybe this is this drop is over. If that's the case, I will look for intraday upside opportunities, but I'm not going to fight against it if it wants to be one of them extended moves. If it wants to continue to drop, great. I'll look for my opportunities to the short side to go with the momentum. So that's it, right? Basically on the crude. Let's bounce over to some of these indexes. This here's the Russell. We'll start here. We've been talking about getting a retracement here on the Russell for a long time, way back here, and then all of a sudden we had this day, and that pretty well confirmed that was over. So next was to keep on looking left, find some resistance. We clearly have found that resistance, and we tested it. Just like the S&Ps at the all-time highs, retesting them, the Russells here at this previous swing high, retesting it. So to expect a little bit of a pullback, not too uncommon here. But what do we see moving forward? Well, it is about 218 here Central. So there's about just under 45 minutes left in the market today, and we're sitting at a doji, a very neutral day. So we have 45 minutes here, just over 40 minutes, to see this market if it wants to rally. Let's look at a 5-minute chart here. Let's look at a 5-minute chart here and look what's really going on here in this particular instrument. We're seeing this thing kind of chop here. We had this really crazy activity early on. Markets opened up, and look what we're doing here. We're just sitting here chopping. So some really good activity early on. Some great trading in the morning trading room. A good drop here. We had several orders we placed. We placed them, like I said, we only got 3 fills today, but I placed like 6 or 7 orders. I was placing them very, very conservative entries, very conservative levels for our entry, simply because it's election day, a little bit lower volume, and we were being a little more conservative, but we were able to get some trading opportunities here on this drop. Moving forward here, like I said, we got 40 minutes left in this day. If we start to get a rally here, that's going to show that we put in a nice bottom here. But if we're also the same thing the other way, if we're able to get a little bit of a drop here into the close, that'll show that this sell-off is valid. And that resistance that we hit the last 2 days on the daily chart is valid. But if we've just had this pullback, we set in this double bottom, when we get a little bit of a pop into the close, that's not going to be as reassuring going into tomorrow's trading that we're going to get a pullback. So if we're able to stay where we are or get a little bit of a trickle down, I will come in looking for lower highs and lower lows on a 5 and 15-minute chart and continue to get this thing trading back towards this 21 EMA on the daily chart. A nice retracement would be a nice healthy thing before ultimately rolling back up. But if for some reason we come in tomorrow, and maybe even if we close strong today, we come in tomorrow above the previous day's high, so above today's high, I will not fight against this trend, and I will continue to look in one direction. If we get above the previous day's high or above today's high on the stock index futures, I'm not going to fight against the trend. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to accept the fact this thing just wants to push higher and will not give up, and I'll go ahead and go with the trend. Let's quickly pop over to the S&P so we can kind of be on the same page there as well. Same thing here, guys. We have this daily resistance, kind of like we do in the Russell. But if this thing wants to sell off here, great. Any type of move to the downside, great. I'll see if it can test that 21 EMA. But if we get up above today's high, which would be the previous day's highs tomorrow, I'm not going to fight against this trend, because one time you think it's going to reverse, drop here, and then it just keeps on fooling you. But you got to just really concentrate on trading what you see, not what you think it should do. So if this thing wants to trade up above today's high going into tomorrow, don't fight against it. Just ride it and take as many opportunities as you can with the momentum, and try to get your profits out of the market. So hope this helps, guys. If you have any questions, you're always free to email me. It's adam@directiontrader.com. So go ahead and send me your emails if you've got any questions at all. If not, thank you for watching, and we'll see you in tomorrow's daily recap. Have a good afternoon.